Now at 5 a.m. on WKYT this morning, Midway has become the 8th Kentucky city to pass a fairness ordinance. What that means for the town, coming up.
A Scott County man charged in a crash that killed a Lexington attorney is set to face a judge today.
And we're tracking a breaking news alert out of Irvin this morning, where police say an inmate escaped from police custody and is now on the loose. The details coming up next.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. A busy day already here at WKYT as we get Tuesday off and rolling. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Hope you're able to get up and at it to this morning. Yesterday was so chilly.
It really was. I mean, it just did not feel like a June day.
It did not.
But we're going to return to more seasonal temperatures.
Yeah.
Let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harrison, our First Alert Weather Center.
Yeah, it gets up there as we slide throughout the next few days. We'll be in the 80s as we approach mid and late week. But as of right now, we still have the clouds overhead, and that's really holding our temperatures at bay as we slide into the afternoon. Yesterday, we hit 58 degrees here. You go south of us, go towards, say, Mount Vernon in Richmond. We were actually in the 60s. Go even farther south than that. Then we're talking about the 70s. It really depended on where you were yesterday as to the way it felt yesterday. And also that rain really stuck around. And we're at 54 right now in Lexington, 59 down in southeastern Kentucky. If we do have a chance today of rain, it's going to be far southeast. We do have a little bit of mist problem out and about this morning. We'll be at 71 this afternoon. Good feel, really nice. But the focus of the forecast, look for that warming trend. Warming trend means thunderstorms. And I'll show you when you can expect those coming up.
All right, thank you. Let's get to the news.
We're tracking a breaking news alert this morning out of Estill County. Irvin police say an inmate being transferred from London to Estill County overnight slipped his handcuffs and ran away from police.
And they say that inmate got into a Dodge pickup truck near a water plant in Irvin and then drove off. Investigators believe the truck belonged to a security guard. They say the guard fired several shots at the vehicle, and the inmate ended up abandoning it by the library in Irvin. Authorities say the inmate is now armed with a machete believed to have been in the truck. Police had to call off the search, but they will continue tracking the inmate at some point later this morning at daybreak. And we'll bring you more details as they come in on that.
Well, a Woodford County city has become the 8th in the Commonwealth to pass a fairness ordinance, and that makes it a crime to discriminate based on sexual orientation.
Midway joins Lexington, Louisville, Covington, Frankfort, Moorhead, Danville, and Vico in Perry County. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk this morning with what changes that ordinance brings to the city. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Bill. Midway's mayor says the ordinance gives gays, lesbians, and transgender people new protections against discrimination. Under the ordinance, if someone thinks they're being discriminated against when it comes to housing, employment, or public service based on their sexual orientation or gender identity, the complaint would go before the mayor or another city official who would work to resolve the dispute. The ordinance passed the city council by a vote of 4-2 yesterday. According to our partners at the Herald Leader, some in Midway thought the ordinance was unnecessary. However, the mayor disagrees. He told us he proposed the ordinance because he thought it was long overdue.
I thought it's wrong that you can fire someone or evict them or deny them, service in a restaurant simply because they're gay or transgender.
According to our partners at the Herald Leader, the ordinance does not apply to religious institutions, including Midway College, because it's affiliated with the church. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
A Central Kentucky man is recovering from some serious injuries this morning after being hit by a car. Investigators say 20-year-old David Andrew Bell of Georgetown was walking along US 25 early Monday morning when a car came up behind him and hit him, throwing him into a ditch. Scott County Sheriff's deputies think the driver ditched the car and ran away shortly after the crash.
We do have a person of interest and are actively looking for him at this time.
Deputies are still investigating why Bell was walking along that road at such an early hour. They say that he has a job in the vicinity. A Georgetown man accused of hitting and killing a cyclist last weekend is set to be in court today. Odalon Paz Salvador is charged with murder, wanton endangerment, and fleeing the scene of an accident. Georgetown police say he was driving drunk when he hit 57-year-old Mark Hinkle last Saturday. Hinkle was riding the Horsey 100, an annual cycling event around the city. Paz Salvador will have his preliminary hearing this afternoon.
We're learning some new details this morning about a death investigation in Hardin County. Sunday, investigators there say they found a man dead in Vine Grove, just north of Elizabethtown. Last night, investigators identified him as 35-year-old Jason Scott. They also say his death is now being investigated as a murder. Officials are looking for 48-year-old Timothy Cruz in connection to the case. He is charged with murder. New this morning, a man behind bars in Lexington is facing new charges. 19-year-old WKYT Walker was arrested last month for assault. Police say he shot a man in the stomach back in April during an attempted robbery. Yesterday, police say a friend of that shooting victim told officers that during the incident back in April, Walker stole cash and threatened him with a gun. Walker is now charged with robbery.
Authorities in Knott County investigating after they say someone stole flags off a grave. Kentucky National Guard soldier Timothy Prater died 7 years ago. He's buried in Jim Patrick Cemetery in Knott County. His family put up a flagpole over the grave with American and Kentucky flags on it, but his father says someone stole the flags over the weekend.
I just can't imagine why that somebody would do something like that, because there's really not no monetary value in it as far as like taking it to the junkyard and getting whatever you can get out of it.
The family says they just want the flags back, no questions asked. A Lexington business is reopening today after it was hit by a car. A car crashed into the Pinnell's Swim Shop on West Tiverton Way at about 9 o'clock last night. Investigators think the driver sped out of the parking lot across the street, hit a tree, then crashed into the shop's back wall. According to firefighters, the driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. One of the owners of the shop later tweeted out a photo showing damage inside the business. Fire crews say the business can reopen today.
The time is 5:06 on WKYT this morning. A London man is facing a DUI charge this morning after deputies say he crashed on a state trooper's lawn. Sheriff's deputies arrested Rajan Drakumar Patel on Monday. They say he lost control of his van, drove through the yard, and hit a mailbox. Deputies say Patel admitted to drinking scotch before the crash. No injuries were reported. Another Laurel County man is facing charges this morning after officers say he gave a 12-year-old marijuana. Deputies arrested 18-year-old Andrew Burkhardt for unlawful transaction with a minor and wanton endangerment. They say the two know each other and that Burkhardt gave the 12-year-old the marijuana. Police took the girl home to her family. She's not facing any charges.
Well, the acting administrator of the TSA has been reassigned. This happened the same day that a federal report said the TSA failed an undercover Homeland Security test. However, the TSA says the acting director's reassigning is not related to the report. DHS Secretary Jay Johnson has named the acting deputy secretary to lead the TSA until they find a replacement. Georgetown College and the Bluegrass Community and Technical College have formed a new partnership. BCTC leaders call it a bridge program for students who apply to Georgetown College but don't initially meet admission requirements. Those students will be allowed to enroll at BCTC. After successfully completing one semester there, they'll be allowed to live on the Georgetown campus and take classes at Georgetown. An interesting partnership.
Yeah, it's a new opportunity for some.
Yeah.
Our time this morning is 5:08 on WKYT. This morning we're just getting started here on your Tuesday.
When we come back, look out Spotify. Apple says they're coming out with their own music streaming service. We'll have that story when we return.
And could the NFL be planning to go to New Zealand? A report released this weekend says they just might be, and that story is coming up.
And we're looking across the way, seeing that isolated chance for a few rumbles of thunder down toward the far southeastern zones. But really, those temperatures will feel quite nice this afternoon. A lot to talk about. Now, have that coming up.